and welcome back to my channel. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notified of all of my new videos. And today we're going to be talking about a topic that's probably going to start coming up more and more. I have a big birthday on the horizon, and now it's not this next year, but since we're so close to the end of the year and we know how quickly time flies, it's already on my mind. So I just recently turned 38 this year, and right around the corner I'm turning 39, which of course means that right on the horizon I'm getting ready to be 40, which that seems kind of crazy to say because I've been doing YouTube for a while, although it doesn't seem like this long. And I started doing YouTube in my 20s, in my upper 20s. So I literally have been in my 20s when I've been doing YouTube. The majority of the time I've been in my 30s, of course. And now I'm looking to just about a year and a half away, I will be turning 40. And so this has started to be on my mind quite a bit. Life at 40, what 40 is going to look like, what it kind of means to me. Am I uncomfortable about it? Am I excited about it? And so that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I think that a lot of the content that I'm going to start uploading on this channel is going to be about my hobbies and what I'm liking, and really centering around what life is like for me now at almost 40. So that's really what I want to be talking about, sharing what I'm into, you know, what I'm spending my little bit of available time doing. And it's definitely a different stage of life now than when I started YouTube. When I made YouTube videos in the way back, I didn't even have kids, and then I started having kids. We went through the whole little stages, and now they're older and more self-sufficient, and I really feel like I can kind of circle around and do some things for myself a little bit more, which has been an interesting process. So I'll definitely still be talking about handbags. I still enjoy handbags, like I've said in previous videos, but there's going to be other things too. I want to talk about what skincare is working for me at almost 40, and what kind of just beauty routines and regimens I'm doing. I still really love makeup, so we'll talk about that. And also just kind of my life schedules and the routines that I'm getting to that maybe have changed over time as I'm getting a little bit older. But you know, I think this is kind of a natural progression. As time marches on, all YouTubers have to change and evolve, and you know, things get a little bit different. And for me in particular, that means because I've gotten older and our family's gotten older, you know, things have changed a little bit. But today I wanted to talk about kind of approaching 40 and what I think about that, and what I think may change, what I think will be different, and kind of reflecting back on some of the things that I've learned in my 20s and 30s. As I was thinking about it, I really felt like, you know, in my 20s, we were really kind of like establishing our family, and I was kind of establishing the things and finding the things that really kind of brought me joy and what I enjoy doing, and finding what I like to do for a career. And that was really the majority of what my 20s was. I completed college, I got married, and I had kids all in my 20s. And so it was really kind of finding what was going to work for me. And then the 30s was a lot of kind of working out the things that I had found and really kind of figuring out what worked the best within those. And it was really kind of a time period of getting established, I guess you could say. We moved a number of times. Since we moved, if you don't follow my other channel, we have moved 10 times in what was 13 years of marriage at that point. Now we've been married for 16 years, and we finally settled down on the moving a little bit, but we moved quite a bit in my 30s. So my 30s were kind of characterized by a lot of change, by a lot of adaptation, by a lot of just kind of figuring out and solidifying who I was going to be as an adult. So now I can really kind of see, as I approach 40, it's kind of almost another change coming up. So if I was finding who I was and kind of establishing all those things, and then kind of working on, you know, adapting around the things that I'd chosen in my 20s, then in my 30s, I feel like 40 is really kind of the age of coming into my own. I have a little bit more time again where I can explore some of these things that I enjoy, and I am able to kind of do some things for myself again. I am able to reconnect with people that I haven't had the ability to reconnect because of a variety of reasons, the pandemic and, you know, all those sorts of things. And so I am a bit excited about 40, but I guess I'm also a little bit nervous too, because for me, my parents growing up, they were 40. Like that's how old my parents were. So it's hit that weird kind of time in life where like I'm now the same age that my parents were. And so it seems to be weird, you know, to kind of think about it in those terms. But we all have to go through these stages, right? So as I approach 40, the biggest things I want to do is kind of slow down a little bit. I have spent the past basically decade just kind of adapting and changing and trying to keep up and trying to kind of keep things rolling. And I think I've finally gotten to a point where I'm starting to figure out what works for me, what maybe doesn't work for me a little bit. And I think it's time to start making possibly even some changes to help me stay on course with what's going to work the best. So what I feel like 40 is going to be is almost kind of like coming into your own, kind of learning to say no to some things and saying yes to others. And also just taking all of that adaptation and trials and everything that you learned in your 20s and 30s, and then just kind of putting it to practice and like living it out. So I'm excited about that aspect. I'm not like super excited about my number changing from 30 to 40, just to be completely honest with you. But I feel like, you know, overall, it's going to be a really interesting decade if you want to look at it in the series of 20s, 30s, 40s. I think it's going to be a really interesting time. And our family is maturing as well. My husband and I have been married, like I said, for 16 years at this point. So we will have been married for quite some time. And the kids are starting to be older. They'll be primarily in middle school and high school and going through all those older stages in my 40s. And so it's going to be kind of almost a bookend to like this middle chapter of my life. And then you can already look ahead and see like, okay, then you almost kind of like start another phase of your life in the future. I don't want to jump too far ahead. But it should be a really interesting time. So I kind of want to take you on that journey here on this channel. If you don't watch my blog channel, Being Mommy with Style, we do a lot of our family vlogs over there. We do a lot of just kind of my personal, like day in the life vlogs. And one of the things that we'd started doing the past few years was more travel vlogs. And I had mentioned before, this was my intention in 2020 at the beginning of the year. I was going to start focusing more on travel vlogs, and really transition more into that. We all know how 2020 worked out, and that did not really pan out or happen that year. But it has kind of been brought back up into my mind that really now, as things are starting to open up, I can kind of possibly transition back to that more. So I just went on a recent trip where I went on my own to the Walt Disney World 50th anniversary. It was not the first solo trip I'd gone on, because I'd gone to the Beaches Social Media on the Sand conference a couple of times in the Turks and Caicos, and a few other places on my own. But I would like to kind of explore that a little bit more. So next month I have planned, hopefully should pan out, a trip to Chicago to meet my best friend that lives in Michigan. We're going to meet up, do a girls shopping trip. So that should be super fun. And I wanted to start incorporating more of that into my life in my 40s. So that's definitely a goal. And then also just really saying yes to things that work for me and saying no to things that don't, which incorporates everything from my time to things that I decide to keep around the house to, you know, kind of just across my whole life. Because I've accumulated a lot in my 30s as well. And I think it's time just to kind of clear out some of that kind of old baggage, if you will. It's not all handbags, but you know what I'm saying. Like some of that, the stuff that's just hanging around from most of the stuff from our 20s is gone, but you know, from our 30s, and we've moved and accumulated, and stuff just gets moved back and forth. And so that is definitely a goal in my 40s as well, of really just starting to say yes for things that work, decor-wise, everything, and then just say no, and releasing and letting go back into the world things that don't. So that's a little bit about what's on my mind. And obviously one of the things too, as we get older, is health. So I feel like I need to get back to a point where I'm not necessarily making tons of video about health and lifestyle and all of that, but I need to have time to focus on it for myself. Because one of the things that I did in my 30s is I, of course, do social media marketing, because here you are. And I do affiliate marketing as well, and network marketing, and just a couple, you know, different things on the internet. And I've done that for, you know, a large portion of years. And one of the things that I did after we moved down here to try to kind of get out and meet people and get myself established down here is I went and got a regular job. And so some of the things that I hoped came from that panned out. Some of the things I would hope would have come from that haven't panned out. And it's overall just been a really good learning experience. So right now I am still working outside of the home in addition to my own business. But you know, I need to kind of look at that in my 40s and figure out the best fit for our family going forwards as well. So anyhow, I'm going to be evaluating all of those things, and I think really the beginning of my 40s, or as I enter into the 40s, it's going to be an evaluation time. Really evaluating what works for me, what works for our lives, what works for our family, what works for my health. And definitely one of the things that was a negative impact from trying to take that position, you know, out in the world and meet people and just mix with different groups of people, was sitting a lot more often. And that's definitely one of my goals that I want to change. I used to really love doing yoga and Zumba when I was a stay-at-home mom. I was doing them multiple times a week. I would usually do yoga at least 2 or 3 times a week, Zumba at least a couple times a week, and there was even some weeks where I was there like 5 days a week. I just really enjoyed it. It gave me a break. They had the childcare at the gym, so I could just drop the kids off, and it gave me that little bit of outside the house time as a stay-at-home mom. It really worked for me as a stay-at-home mom. Now I would really like to figure out a way to kind of incorporate some of that, maybe not at the level that I was doing then, because it does take up quite a bit of time by the time you change into your workout clothes, drive there, do the hour class, change out of the clothes, get all ready again. I mean, it's like a whole morning block of time if you like to do like a 10 a.m. class, which is my preferred time to do classes for whatever reason. But I would like to figure out a way to incorporate more movement back in, because I have seen some negative health effects just from sitting more. I'm having joint problems. I'm having to use things like Tiger Balm more regularly. And I am only still in my 30s. So I've literally said, like, I'm a little too young to be dealing with this. And so I need to figure out a way that I can incorporate some of these health things back into my life. And make that a priority again. So a little bit of that as well, but again, I'm not changing into a health channel. This is just gonna be me, kind of a chatty variety hobby channel, like I have talked about before as a kind of reintroduction, sharing some handbags, some makeup, some beauty, all those things. But the one difference that I really decided to kind of focus, and why I decided to put this stuff on this channel as opposed to Being Mommy with Style, is Being Mommy with Style really does focus on being a mom. It's about being a mom. The things that I do as a mom, the things that I do with our family, the things that kind of make up and encompass all of those kind of mommy things. And this channel, whether this is selfish or not, I wanted this to be more about just me. So this is just about Diana and what Diana enjoys, and this will just be really just focused on me as the person and the things that, you know, I'm collecting, or my hobbies, or what I'm enjoying. And so you'll see a little bit more of just kind of the singular things that I'm enjoying for myself here, and then it'll be more family oriented on Being Mommy with Style, just to kind of explain that a little bit. And it's kind of always the way that I've had it set up. I just never vocalized that. But just to kind of explain that, because I know there are a number of subscribers that kind of started out over here from my handbag reviews and that went over to Being Mommy with Style. So you may be wondering, well, what's really going to be different, because you're kind of the same person. And I really do try to keep all of that over there, even though I do like travel vlogs, even if on my own. But I'm doing those like from a mom perspective. Like, you know, these are the places that I would enjoy eating as a family, staying. And I kind of keep that perspective the whole time over there. Whereas like over here, this is going to be more like, perhaps like, you know, focusing on just shopping and what I enjoy to do and hobbies. And I keep looking at my Cricut because I have a whole bunch of things I want to make with the Cricut. So those sorts of things. So anyhow, let me know if you have any questions down below. And if you have been with me for a while, of course, we've all transitioned through a number of age groups together, so thank you for hanging out that whole time. But I am looking forward to being 40. I am, I guess, kind of a little bit nervous by how quickly time goes. I mean, it just seems like the baby stages felt so long when you're in them, but they just went zip. And like before I know it, I'm gonna have kids that are like in high school. And that does stress me out a little bit, like just thinking about how quickly it goes. So I just want to make the most of it, make sure I'm making the best choices and saying yes to the things that make the most sense and work the best for us. And I will take you along on that journey of life at almost 40 here on this channel. So let me know if you have any video requests or questions down below, and I will see you in another video very soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.